Good morning. My name is John Talk. I am privileged to be the rector here at Emmanuel Episcopal Church in Southern Pines, where for the past few weeks we've been discussing the Beatitudes. As you may know, in Matthew at least, the Beatitudes are core to Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, which is core to Matthew's understanding of Jesus' ministry. So these few little verses that we're taking one by one, really for Matthew, explicate Jesus' ministry, what Jesus is trying to tell us. Today we are reading from the Jerusalem Bible, and we are at the Beatitude, which reads, at least in here, "Happy are those who hunger and thirst for what is right. They shall be satisfied." Now, in the New Revised Standard Version, which is what we use on Sunday morning, it's a little bit different. It says, "Happy are those," or "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be filled," as in their hunger will be satisfied. As I was reading this verse, I was reminded that once upon a time when I was a kid, that is when I was in my teens and 20s and maybe even into my 30s, I spent, say a lot of time, but some time marching around our state capitol and our nation's capital, calling for what I at the time thought was justice, calling for change. Now you see these gray hairs and you can imagine how old I am. So at that time, when I was in high school, we were calling for an end to nuclear armament, an end to nuclear weapons. We thought that that was the bane of our existence. And in fact, we had all sorts of slogans that combined nuclear armament with poverty in America. "Bread, not bombs" was a common chant. And this is a theme in my family. My daughter's Instagram posts are chock full of them marching in gay pride parades, calling on social justice, marching in Black Lives Matter parades, etc., etc., etc. I'm pretty sure that that's not what Jesus is talking about here. Because when you're marching with a bunch of other people who think and feel and believe exactly like you do, shouting at the powers that be, shouting at the passerby, shouting at the world in your anger and frustration, you're not being like Jesus. You're not loving. You're not, more importantly, opening your ears to hear the wisdom of the Spirit. Now, is there a place for social justice protest? Of course. Of course. Is there a place for Christians to take part in these protests? Of course. The civil rights movement of the 1960s would have been vastly different were it not led by clergy people of all denominations and, in fact, of many different religions. So there is a place for that, but that's not what Jesus is asking us to do today. Nor is Jesus asking us to be judgmental today. Jesus isn't asking us to say, well, justice would reign if only they would do X. And you can fill in the blanks. If only they, whoever they are for you, or would do X, whatever X is for you, or, if only they, if only they, if only they. Jesus is never asking us to bring judgment into this world. In fact, in Luke chapter 6, he specifically reminds us, or tells us, not to be judgmental, because when we're judgmental, then we're judged. And when we are forgiving, then we are forgiven. So what is Jesus doing in this little beatitude? Happy are they, blessed are they who hunger for justice. Well, I think we have to look at the life of Jesus. What does justice mean in his life? And we have to look at the totality of the biblical text. What does justice look like in here? For Jesus, and in this text more generally, justice looks like we are treating each other like children of God. Justice looks like we are treating each other as brothers and sisters, even if we don't know who they are. That we're treating each other as if they were beloved of God, worthy of love, worthy of grace, worthy of being treated with dignity and respect in all that they are. And we need to examine, it seems to me, first, the things that we do that lead to our brothers and sisters being damaged before we look to others. Even something as simple as how do my purchasing decisions impact other people's lives? Isn't it important enough for me to save 10 cents on this box of pasta that's made somewhere without a good standard of living? Or do I need to support those who are working? These are complicated questions, but first we examine ourselves and every action that we take in light of treating each other as children of God. We're doing a little bit of work in the background. Our electricity went out the past day, and we're trying to get things up and running again. So you're going to see and hear some people behind me. Or our next, we seek to educate. And another word for educate is proclaim to others the good news of Jesus Christ. And we do this with humbleness. We try to teach each other and our brothers and sisters who are not yet Christians that God is calling on all of us to love all of us. So, this week, think about, pray about, feel about, examine in your life those behaviors that you engage in that help to treat others as less than, and then seek to ameliorate those spaces, and second, come into relationship with each other, seeking justice through the proclamation of the Word of God. And you will enter into the kingdom of heaven fully